Now there's various ways to start netting. This is quite a handy way to start, where what we do is we create essentially 2 rows of netting, and we do that by doing it lengthways like that, and essentially doing repeated rows across. And then when we're finished, we can pull that out to our netting, and we're able then to go down from there. So we can net down from there. The advantage if you're making, say, a scarf, is that you can do half the scarf, you can do a nice edging, and then you can turn the whole thing round, and then you can go down the other way, do another nice edging, and there's no obvious join in the center. So it's quite a nice way to start netting. I'll show you how we do that. Now first we start with our loaded shuttle. Let's get a bit more yarn here, and we use our mesh, and the first stitch is going to be twice the width of this mesh. So we just put our yarn, or we'll put a yarn at the top, because we're going to tie a knot at the top. So, and we go around twice. Okay, so we've gone twice around the mesh, and we're just going to tie a knot on top here. And this knot, we don't want that to come undone again. So we tie a reasonable knot here. It doesn't matter what sort of knot you tie, but we don't want it to come undone, so it's got to be nice and firm. And then when we pull that out, we have a loop that's twice the width of the mesh. Okay, good. Now we're going to connect that up to our carabiner. So I put a different piece of yarn through our loop, and I tie a slip knot there because I want to untie this again later. So I'll just tie a slip knot. You don't have to, you can just tie a normal knot and cut it later, but you can tie a slip knot. And I'll just mess that up a little bit. Let's try that again. Then we've got our slip knot, and we just make that quite firm. Okay, so now we've got our loop on our first loop of netting. We put that on the carabiner. I like the carabiners, and essentially I'll just bring that up so you can see that. I just attach that to something, a clamp, anything that will allow your netting to be held onto. Right, so now we've got one loop. So we're going to start netting. Now I tend to do a square knot in my netting because I find it sits a bit flatter and doesn't slip, but we can do both ways. Now we'll just do this as if this is our first netting stitch. So this is I'm doing it as a round, as a square knot. Now what I want is this side knot here to be halfway up. This is just for our first. I'll just get that out of the way, but essentially we want that halfway up like that. Okay, this halfway up, and I'll just tuck that there out of the way. So what we've got now is the yarn coming over the mesh and going through our first loop. Okay, so I'll just finish my square knot. That goes over, that goes underneath, and we pull that through. And that's our first row. So now we do the next row. So we're going to take our mesh out. We put it, we're going to do our second row, so we put the yarn over the mesh. This will be the stitch we're working into. So if we're doing a square knot, then we go through like that. Flick that over, come up underneath and down. And we just keep going down, doing these rows. Now, for those of you who like a sheep band or a weaver's knot, we can do one of those. So we come up under for that. Flick our yarn the same. And we go under the two sides of the loop. And down. But you've got to be a little bit careful that it doesn't slip. The next one I'll do with that extra movement so it doesn't slip. Throw our yarn over, come through there, and now the extra move is that we go back down again, which is quite quick to do. It does make the knot slightly bulkier, but it means it doesn't slip, much more secure knot. So we'll do that again. So we're coming up under. We're going over, behind both, and we'll go back through again. I'll just show you that. So we've gone over and back through there again, so it doesn't slip. Let me just pull that tight. Now we'll just do another one. And obviously if you're doing a wide piece, you're going to be doing a lot of these. You might do 20 or 30 of them. And I've only done a short number here. I'll just do, that'll do us, okay? So we'll take that off. So we'll take off the carabiner. We'll take this yarn off because we don't need that now. And now we have our length of netting. See that? If we pull it out, then that's our netting. Now for our first row, this is going to be where our first row starts. So it'll be like that. And what I'm going to do is thread that green yarn through these top loops. So just through the top loops. So let's do that. So we'll go through the top one. So we'll go through that one, this one, this one. Make sure we don't twist it all up. See how I'm just going through the top ones. And then this is our last top one here. And that's a little hard to see, but you can see there now how we've got the top layer of netting. And now we essentially just start netting as normal. Tie that together. Put it on the carabiner. Get our first stitch. And then we just do our netting as normal. And we go across And that's it.